Hey everybody, Edo here, and over the last few weeks I've done some Kickstarter basic videos. They were about how to set up a campaign, like actually going through the different pages of setting one up, and then I also did one about how to sort of manage or look at your dashboard and the different pages within a live campaign. So I was messing around and looking at all the campaign pages as I was talking about it, and at some point during that process, around then, I actually was, not approach isn't the right word, I got a notification for like a survey, a creator survey from Kickstarter. And it was asking some basic questions, and then a section of it was like, hey, what do you think if we made this change? Or would you be interested in us investing more time in this? And I remember reading the list, I didn't screen grab it or anything, and saying, very few of these are the things I would have mentioned. A couple were I hadn't thought of them, but interesting. But it made me want to sort of make my own list here. So this is 10 or 11 different things that I think Kickstarter could improve or do better. I would find very useful as a creator. I certainly hope somebody at Kickstarter might see this video and make some of these changes. I'd like to assume some of them are already in the works or being discussed. And I also really am very interested in what things other people want. I didn't order these. These aren't the top 10 issues. These were just like the things that popped into my head as I was just like going, I was like, I don't really like that. I don't like that. And I will also say that over the years, Kickstarter has gotten better. They've introduced a number of features, though you see other platforms, more in particular GameFound, that's really been pushing the envelope, albeit I'm still on Kickstarter. And so I think there's an interesting opportunity. Now, Kickstarter is a not-for-profit type of organization. They can't necessarily do anything and everything, and some of these things lean into other parts of business. But anyway, I wanted to provide this list, and I'm very interested in discussing it, either in the channel or wherever I share this on Facebook or Twitter or whatever. And if you have different items, add them in. I'm very curious. So again, no particular order, and some of these are small efforts and some of them are big efforts. But let's take a look here. So one, really simple. Why can't I add line items to my FAQ before the campaign is launched? Right? Like, there's no reason. I'm not sure what people are scared of, me trying to use an FAQ. You're like, well, it's not a frequently asked question if it hasn't been asked yet. I mean, okay, but does your game support sleeves? Is there a pledge manager? Is it EU, UK friendly? No matter how it's put on the page, you're gonna get questions like that. And the fact that as a creator, I have to literally launch the campaign and then double back and fill it in, it's just silly. It's really just silly, and it seems like something that would be trivial, albeit never is, to address. On this one, I can't see why you would not let me do it. Not sure what the concern would be about giving you the power to pre-answer some questions you expect to be frequently answered questions. What, worst case, I got a line item there I didn't need, I delete it, that kind of thing. Anyway, that was my number one. So number two, and again, no particular order, there is this community page, tab, or whatever it is, on the main campaign, which gives the most rudimentary information. It basically says here are the countries backers are from and whether or not they've been first-time backers. It's it's not even particularly pretty. And I think this is a huge, huge, huge opportunity. It is a huge opportunity for Kickstarter to make that a more dynamic, engaging investment, for your community. The community, which is the people who are backing your Kickstarter, right? Let me use that page to, do polls, ask questions, more robust things, visualize backers in different ways, create connections, allow me to engage, maybe provide some goodies in there or whatever. It just seems like this opportunity to be the centerpiece for community, whereas right now that ends up being sort of in chat, sort of on the page. You could have a stretch goal unlock area. Ultimately, it's this robust thing that probably doesn't change whether or not you fund, right? I can easily see when Kickstarter lines up their priorities, they look at this and they say, what's the ROI, the return on investment from investing in this? They're probably right. There's countless things you do higher, but I just feel I look at that and I'm I would love that to be a cool, fun, engaging page. And I think there's all sorts of different platforms that are community focused that one could look at and look on to sort of do that. But I think there's an opportunity there. Again, I think it'd be lower on the poll or the ladder. this is very significant and one that's very often brought up and requested, which is the chat section. That needs an overhaul. That needs to be made more modern. Eventually you added threading, Kickstarter, but there's a whole lot more in terms of so simple things like being able to edit. I understand you don't want me deleting posts and doing that, and I get the sort of perfectness, but like the amount of times you make a little typo and then you can't like correct it. You on a Kickstarter post, the update, you give me 30 minutes to update it. Let me fix my spelling mistakes, please. But then just in terms of modern chat, whether it's upvoting, downvoting, pinning a message, you could imagine perhaps, and a solution would be, you could let me pin a message, you could create a creator tab where you show the entire conversation, which you don't want to suppress, but like as a creator, I can have highlight conversations, right? Like it's problematic that, important information gets buried in this deluge of stuff and you can't really, like, literally to the point where if there's something bad that happens in your Kickstarter, you don't want to see it anymore, you just bury it. Like, it's not even good for backers to do things. And then you could sort of think about community things and polls and images and all those things. I know why there's some hesitation there, but they're just, like, it's not a great place to have a dialogue. And it's very difficult to manage the dialogue. And it also, is something that making ease of reporting and other things is important too for both backers and creators, right? Providing that feedback loop and that feedback loop to Kickstarter, I think is important and important on a lot of platforms. But like, let me pin something, or there's just a few things. Highlight the creator's comment more clearly, just so that it's just easier to navigate. There's so many simple things that could be done to make it better. Threading was a nice improvement, but I feel like that's definitely a place where it would be great to see things move along. And I guess, if you could have, if you could favorite something or put a little badge on it, these are all things you see in chat platforms elsewhere and social media platforms. So great reference points abound. Next, actually, this is another mild one. If you go to messages, which isn't chat, it's my messages, that's fine. It's got a good filter. I can look at it based on campaign. I can look at read unread. It's okay. The performance on messages is terrible. Overall, Kickstarter has a lot of places where performance is a problem. Overall, where there are outages and that kind of thing. But it's mind-boggling how regular the messages section is, just so slow. It's so slow. So I would just like in performance improvement there, throw another server on. Okay. Next up, we have, and this is, I guess, the 5 spot, we have, again, not in order, but whatever, they're numbered. The campaign editor is so problematic. And I know it's some HTML thing and blah, 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 but like the fact that it like adds the lines and things disappear and come back and then they relocate and then you have to re-edit and remanage them and delete spaces is just so frustrating and takes so much extra time. Moving images around on the page, like they're just more robust modern visual editors, and I think just taking a cue from those would be great. Can people create their pages and be successful? Absolutely. But they're just different ways and opportunities to make it better, including providing some layout options and otherwise. Like so many people have moved towards just baking everything in because of the limited options within the campaign page. So it's like, if you wanted to give limited options so people didn't do craziness, they still do craziness with images. So it's not like it's not like saving us from MySpace, right? Like, so I think that there's opportunities there. I know it can be frustrating. So an area that doesn't really exist today, and you could put it in dashboard or otherwise, but like really providing robust site performance to the Kickstarter creator. I know you track some of it or all of it, like why wouldn't you? But like where do people get like sort of marketing, not marketing, but like sales pipeline, right? How far do they scroll down the page? You let me know if they watch the video or not, but which pledges are they looking at? Where do they drop out of the funnel? Where are they drop? Ultimately, I can't change that much, but even retrospectively, being able to understand the where and how the sort of funnel and fallout from a, I guess, user acquisition or conversion perspective would be fantastic. Like, thanks for the video stats, but there's just like way more stats you could be providing, including links within the page, video plays within the page. All that information is available. You can use a Google Analytics a little bit for this, but it doesn't really give me any of that checkout stuff. It doesn't take me into the sort of funnel of backing and pledging or putting add-ons in or that kind of thing. So that would be super interesting for creators. So then you have the dashboard tab in the menu. It does have some useful information. I like the tracking and where users come from and being able to add our own. But this is just an opportunity, whether it's Tabletop Analytics or KickTrack or like whatever that one's called, like Cake, whatever, Jelly Donut, I don't remember what it's called. But like, there's just some nice other visualization layers you can do. You can let me look at per day performance by comments, by backers. There's just a lot more sort of easy, fun, but informative things you can allow me to do to like very quickly look at and understand performance and how we're trending. I understand why Kickstarter wouldn't want to apply trend lines. But I do think there's opportunities there, and they're good examples, and I don't think it has to be a crazy deep dive. The site performance one is sort of like, let us get that information. But and I don't mean site. I'm not talking about Kickstarter in general. I'm really talking about, campaign performance. But, I do think improvements to that dashboard would be nice. I'm sure there's other things that are fun to do there. So next up, just better survey and survey control. Survey system's okay. I'd like to be able to use surveys more. The fact that I can't make one survey and assign it to everyone else is lacking. And then, being able to look at the dashboard and survey completions and just more modern. Go to MailChimp, look at campaigns and newsletters and those types of performance dashboards for campaigns. They would just help me understand my survey performance and also following up in just a variety of other things. It's just an area of the site that could be better. Again, low margin, especially as I think more and more people are going to Pledge Manager. So why am I think I went out of order on a couple here. So I think the next side of it, right, to some degree, is on the other side of surveys, is having a more complete, I look at that fulfillment information, the fulfillment page, I just want way more information. I want to be able to dissect it, look at it by country. I can't really use it for a true fulfillment tool, and then that just bleeds into Pledge Manager. And I could ultimately see why Kickstarter doesn't want to move into pledge management. I, for one, think it would be a beneficial thing if those services were available. But again, I understand why that could be problematic. But I think starting with more tools and information on the dashboard would help me double check my information if I am using the Kickstarter survey and system, right? If I'm not using a pledge manager, these are the types of things that those tools provide me. Even if you're not going to allow for the sort of users to go back in and do more, I think it would be great to, provide more of that information. Sort of in the same vibe, not quite a pledge manager, and this isn't just as a creator, but also a backer. Give me a much better user dashboard. And this is again, because backers, they don't fill out surveys. I should have a really nice visual dashboard into my campaigns, whether they've run surveys, the updates, what I've backed. It's all over the site. You have the, look at my campaigns that are just in a list view. You don't have a fun and dynamic way for people who are backing lots of Kickstarters, want to see their Kickstarters, find the latest updates. there's so much more to provide there, and such an opportunity that I think would re-engage users, get them into comments, like really funnel them back into Kickstarter as a platform on their campaigns, but then also just get better behavior from backers who have more information and more access to information. Like, hey, notifications, like you haven't done your survey on this, and other things that would like help them, where now it's all like, there really is not a backer dashboard. There's the campaign pages, and you're pointing me away, and then there's some things in my you know, account menu. Now I understand if you start providing me with a distraction, I might not be like, and this is maybe because I do a lot of digital stuff. Like, I understand the idea that what you want me to be doing is seeing the pop-ups for, not pop-ups, but the display for all of the other campaigns, and you want me going to campaign pages. You don't want me in a place that's just serving me value if it might be taking away my site time away from the other campaigns. But I do think there's an easy way to roll it in, blend it in, and work it together. BGG, not everyone's a fan, but they overhauled their front end, and they're actively trying to manage that challenge of, you know, they sort of had the reverse where everyone was deep and they want people to be able to see some more of the content that's being pushed at them. So, you know, I think it's a balance there, but I do think there's an opportunity to make that better and just more modern, right? You know, sort of on the pledge manager sense, but being able to more properly use the campaign page after a campaign is closed, I think would be cool. I understand why that also doesn't necessarily fit the platform and the direction of Kickstarter, but if it did go to a pledge manager approach that had add-ons and allowed people to continue to buy into a campaign or whatever, that would be additional revenue that's currently not given to Kickstarter. So hopefully that might be something that could justify the inclusion of those services. I can see why that's just like a hard thing to swallow in terms of like sort of mixed messaging and having a really clean cut. Like I buy why maybe Kickstarter hasn't dove into that pledge manager, but like pledge managers are something that people look for off of Kickstarter. Analytics and dashboards is something people go for off of Kickstarter, and part of that's because it just there isn't enough within the platform. So that's my perspective. I would love to hear what other people think is missing, big or small. I tried to have a mixture and not just do giant things. But again, Kickstarter is fantastic. I mean, like, let me end by this. What an incredible company that has provided so much product and new ideas to the world. Like, really incredible what's happened so far. So let this just be a list of things I'd love to see, but not a list of like gripes where this doesn't bug me on a day-to-day basis. It was just interesting because I was in there trying to do this pro learning how to use Kickstarter thing, and that survey came up, and I was like, I don't know, I got some other things to bring up. So anyway, thanks so much. Bye. Hey everybody, Edo here, and thanks for watching Gaming with Edo. Reviews over here on this playlist, League and Insider videos over here on this one. Subscribe, share, all that good stuff. But most importantly, play some great games. Thanks. Bye.